This is Ian Priddy from the Retro Computer Shack. In this video I'll show you how to connect a Commodore Amiga computer to a TV or monitor via the HDMI input. To do that you'll need my Commodore Amiga RGB SCART lead and this low cost SCART to HDMI video converter. Just before I show you how to connect it up, a quick note about the video connector that I now fit on all my Amiga SCART leads. That's the original 23-way connector that I used to fit to the SCART leads. However, that's been discontinued for quite some time now. So now what I do is I use a 25-way connector, carefully cut off 2 pins, and then sand and file the connector so it finishes off and fits as good as possible. This still fits fine. I'll show you the fitting of it now. This is the video connector 23-way that you'll find on the back of the Amiga. So as you can see, it provides a nice, good, snug fit. It's perfectly good. The only difference being that the left locking screw is the only one that will secure it. The right locking screw, as you can see, is 2 pins out of alignment because that's a 25-way connector and that's a 23-way, so it won't align. However, it's a still good, tight, snug fit, even without the locking screw connected. Also, most of the metal casing is still intact, so it still provides good protection for the plastic connector inside. And as the metal casing is grounded, still provides shielding from external interference. Okay, just before we go through the connections, I'll just give you a bit of information about SCART to HDMI conversion. I'm not going to go into this in too depth. You'll be able to click the links below the video and find some documents that you can download. SCART to HDMI conversion. It's not just as simple as buying any SCART to HDMI converter. It needs to be compatible and work with the 15 kHz video signal that most computers and retro games consoles output. You'll find lots of video converters on the market, but most won't work for this purpose. Apart from this low cost one, which we'll use for the purpose of this video, there are other 3 main converters on the market. This low cost converter does the job fine for most people. However, it does have a little bit of lag. That means there's a slight delay between the video going in and the video coming out. So for instance, if you're pressing the fire on the joystick, you may see a very slight delay from the action on the TV. For most people that should be okay, but if not, if you want absolute top quality pictures and no lag, then there are 3 main video converters on the market. The OSSC, the open source scan converter, and 2 RetroTink products, the 5X Pro and the 2X SCART. These are all specifically designed for retro computers, and the RetroTink 5X Pro and the OSSC all have online menu settings and are very configurable, and obviously give a better picture than this low cost solution, but for most people this is probably going to be okay. I'm not going to go too much into these because, like I say, you'll be able to click the links below the video and download more information on that. Right, so let's make the connections on the video on the back of the Amiga. So first of all, let's connect the Amiga side up. So we need to connect the video into the Amiga. So on the Amiga 500, the RGB video is on next down to the mono output there. So you need to plug that into that, and then connect the black lead into the left audio and the red lead into the right audio. I'm also just going to plug a joystick in as well, just so we can fire the game up when we get it going. So I'll plug that in there as well. Okay, the only other connector is the power to the Amiga, which on the 500 goes in just at the side there. Okay, so that's all the connections to the Amiga side. Now the other end of the SCART lead, which is the SCART plug, that needs to go into the SCART input on the video converter. That's it's a bit of a loose fit, that it doesn't lock in place or anything, but that's quite normal for SCART connections. Next we want to take a HDMI video lead and connect one end to the TV or monitor. I've already connected this one at that end, so there's just the other end to connect, which goes to the HDMI output on the converter. Next we need to connect the power to the converter, which goes just at the side of the SCART socket there. So that's all the connections. So we've got SCART going in and HDMI coming out into the TV or monitor. Okay, so let's I'll just zoom out a little bit there so we can see the picture and switch that off. I'm going to switch the monitor on. Okay, so switch the monitor on, select the HDMI input, I'll just switch that light out. The HDMI is already selected on this monitor, as you can see, HDMI. Next I'm going to switch the converter on. The screen will go a little bit blurred at the moment, that's purely the video, it's not what you'll see. Once it gets a signal it'll lock on and focus. So I've switched the HDMI converter on now, the power light comes on, and as you can see the status box which comes from the video converters on the screen. It's showing SCART input with a resolution of 19:2 by 1080, which is the best resolution output for this particular monitor. If you don't see the SCART selected on the monitor or your TV, press the SCART HDMI button there and it will change the source between HDMI and SCART. So we want to select the SCART input, which is there. You may also need to press the 720p 1080p button just to select the output resolution to match your TV. As I've mentioned, it's already set for the right resolution for my monitor. Okay, so now we need to switch the Amiga on, and as you can see it's now picked up a PAL signal and we should get a picture from the Amiga, which we are doing. The other thing you might want to do is make sure you've got the aspect ratio of your monitor set for 4.3, which is the correct aspect ratio for all the microcomputers. None of them output a widescreen picture. You can select 16:9 widescreen if you want, but you'll just get an unusually stretched screen, but it will work. So I'm going to leave it in the native resolution of 4.3. So we should get a nice clear stable colour picture. I'll just knock that light out, then we can see that a little bit better. Just see if I can get that game to start up, which is a bit finicky sometimes, and then we can have a look at the picture, and you will get sound as well. So as you can see, there we go, that's it, it seems to be working okay. So that's basically all there is to it in most cases. However, if you do get a problem with connections and you're having problems, if you click the links below the videos, you'll find a couple of documents there which may be of use. There's a document on the SCART to HDMI video conversion, which is more in depth and includes this low cost one as well. You'll also find a video troubleshooting guide which may help, but that's mainly used for connecting directly SCART to TV. Just before I go, I'll just give you a quick bit of information on the alternative professional video converters. I'm not going to go into these too much, but just show you basically what's available there. So, as we mentioned, there's the OSSC, the open source scan converter. This is version 1.7, which is in this good quality moulded case, and this one was from Video Game Perfection, which is the place I would recommend to buy this from if they're in stock. That's basically got RGB SCART in, not composite SCART, only RGB SCART. You've got component video in and VGA in, and then you've got HDMI out. You've also got a menu there, a little display which shows the menu, and it's also got on-screen menu settings. And these are designed specifically for retro computers and games consoles. And to get the best picture, those are the kind of things that you might need. If Video Game Perfection haven't got those in stock, this is one bought off eBay. This is version 1.6, which has this strange sort of plastic sandwich type case, which is common on all the 1.6s. The moulded case on the 1.7 only comes from Video Game Perfection. Again, it's pretty much the same. You've got RGB SCART in, component video in, VGA in, a little display as well, and HDMI out there. And you've got the audio out as well, but the audio is passed through the HDMI. The other two products are the RetroTink 5X, which again comes in this moulded case. Doesn't have a display on this one, but it does have on-screen displays. A few more video inputs on this one. You've got component video, you've got composite video, and you've got S-video in. You've also got RGB SCART and also composite video SCART input. And then you've got a few controls on the front, but you also get the menus on the screen. And lastly is the RetroTink 2X SCART, which is a high quality but very simple to use plug and play. You've got RGB SCART in, not composite, only RGB SCART, and HDMI out. There are no on-screen menus or buttons to press, but you will get a much higher quality picture than using, well, I'm saying much higher quality, you'll get a better quality picture using that than you will using the low cost one. But it depends on what's best for you. So that's about it for this video, I think. Like I say, click the links below the video, and you'll see more information there, and you'll be able to download the documents. Well, that's about it. I hope you find that useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with more.